Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Dr. Raquel Leah, and our sponsor for the next 9 episodes of the Day Diary is the Breaking Generational Curse series, the BGC series, and that stands for When Child Protective Services Takes Your Children. So we were talking about disruptive behavior in the following episode. Let me pause for just a moment and tell you this. So I had a coworker at the time, but I've been managing. I've been a CISO for almost 9 years, and so I don't have a lot of coworkers. I have a board of trustees, but I don't have a lot of coworkers. I'm kind of a senior executive, so when you get to that level, you don't have coworkers. You have other shareholders, so special interests, political mojo. But so this has been quite some time ago. I had a cubicle and I was a trainer, and I was a trainer for a telecommunications conglomerate. I won't even tell you who it's for because it's not worth it. And when I came to this particular company, I brought over 2 other people. So I was in a call center and don't like call center environments, so it's a very short-term job. I'm not a call center person. You're never going to find that out about my personality. I guess someone has called me creative. I don't know if I agree with that either. Someone told me about a job. I filled out an application or just whatever the process was, and then I told someone else. So all 3 of us went to the company for that job, and immediately I had one friend that went into supervisory duties, and me and the other lady stayed in the call center area. So this was a new company, and we were launching. It was a startup, and so there was room for growth. I became a professional trainer, so now I'm not in the cubicle as much. This call center approach, it because we were all friends, there was a level of jealousy, there was a level of talk back, then the other call center people kind of got involved, and after launch date, boom, there were customers. There were thousands and thousands of customers, and the company ends up going international. Well, I was so young that I didn't want that. I didn't want a corporate life. I didn't know that it's called corporate life, but it wasn't the structure that I wanted. So I got fired. And it was probably because of my destructive behavior. And then later people moved around and this and that. And, somebody said this and somebody said that. Eventually, all 3 of us lost our job. I fell on my feet because I was the youngest. You had a 58 something involved and then a mid to late 30s lady involved. So we all kind of fell on our feet, but I was the one with more potential because of my age. So this is what I'm saying to you about that scenario. You have 3 people that were wonderful friends that are gung-ho and gusto. They go together into corporate America, and they share the fact that they all left a particular company, and they go and move over to another company, and each of their lives go into different directions. And there's a little chitter-chatter of banter because other people can see the closeness of those 3. And I will submit to you that the disruptive behavior started before that. But after that, as I told that story, you can probably guess how jealousy took over. You can probably guess how other people and the rumor mill and gossip kind of took over. You can probably guess how hurt feelings and retaliation took over. That's the same message. Have my tea. That I want to present to you about disruptive communication and behavior and your parent-child relationship. Of course, all 3 of us were adults, but everyone has their own rose-colored glasses and how they bring something to the trifold of our relationship. You have on your rose-colored glasses. Your child has on their rose-colored glasses, and any other children have on their rose-colored glasses. And then communication starts. people get their feelings hurt. Disruptive behavior and disruptive communication kind of take hold, and you find yourself scattering to try to find your space and say that you have a special interest to be heard. And so because you have inflections and you have things that you're dealing with, you seem to be more important when you communicate. That's what disruptive behavior is about. It's about you wanting to be heard and feelings of unjustification, feelings of, hey, that wasn't justified. You should not have done that. So these are the way we war against others. Disruptive behavior can impact you longer than what you really want it to. It really can. And so when dealing with your generations, let's pause a moment. Let's re-listen to this particular episode on the triage of who was in that circle and moved over to the company. And then let's put some Hollywood and some Lifetime channel on top of it. That story's not finished being written yet. Maybe I'll Facebook somebody. Who knows? But my prayer for you is that we don't get into a space of disruptive behavior because we feel justified, because we feel disrespected, because there's something that we feel as though short term we need to communicate right now. Take a long-term approach and step back. Do some interaction therapy. I am your host. Thank you for listening, Dr. Raquel Land.
So this is where our journey must end. And saying good evening and goodbye to you today does not mean that you don't get another opportunity to impact your generations, legislation, and effective change in your kinship and relationship with your child or your children. And as always, the vision of our broadcast is incomplex, that you consider, catch, check out, and cradle simple approaches to parenting and communication. And we are here to help support. And in kind, your generosity helps parents' liberties and freedoms from constraint to guide and parent their children and grandchildren in safe and healthy places. Won't you become a patron today? Visit our supporters page at patreon.com/Healthy Families First. As a nonprofit doing the most good, the Breaking Generational Curses series and Healthy Families First is promoting healthy parent-child relationships when there is a kinship split. No communication, no awareness, no occasional meetings, no nothing. And our intent is an information hub for parents to approach healing and recovery in safe spaces. Our broadcast will be featured in 47 countries and all USA podcast panels. Stay tuned for an open call to beta testers, listeners, sign-ups, and support. And again, thank you for listening. Visit CIDFUND.org. That's sidfund.org.